Abusia former movie be a kwaba. And from red to kidneys and blood. So miss any day can also subscribe. Yeah, my this channel. No like Nibium so or comment out comment section. Out of what to see the MPP Amanyukuni in Wayde. NPP Amanyukuni in Wayde. A fire Papa Kennedy, a Japan, any Bawumia, a side. Out of form Mam Casanyet and Muyan Kuti, and Nigisem, and some baby, and Fambra.
There's some element of mixed message. You take Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. In one breath, he's apologizing profusely for the failures of his administration. And he admits that all of them are responsible for those failures and so on, you know. And then in another breath, he's saying, vote for me because I was vice president in that administration and we did so well. Which is which? You either failed or you succeeded. You understand? Now I'm wondering how anybody today can be saying that those 8 years were years of success. Because if they were, why is he apologizing? So that's a problem.
But isn't that to say that despite the successes we've chalked, we also admit that we made certain mistakes, and so we're sorry for that. We're sorry about that.
So that's not what he said.
I'm thinking that's perhaps
or maybe that's what he meant.
That's what he meant, perhaps.
But if a presidential candidate is unable to communicate what he means, then you have a problem.
Okay. Fair comment.
Then you have a problem. You know. So there's a lot of mixed messaging. Then there is Mr. Brian Achampo, and I listened to him very closely yesterday, and he was asked about the fact that he's been throwing jibes at other candidates. And he says, well, that's campaigning, is going to continue. I mean, if they hit me, I'll hit them back, and so on. That suggests that the extent to which the party wants to build a certain harmonious relationship between the candidates and so on is threatened. If they're going to hit and hit back, and so on, then there's a problem. Now, he himself has received a jolt. You know, he claimed that the arrangements for cocoa purchasing and so on were done by him. Other people have come out, including this guy who was at the cocoa board.
Mr. Edu. Joseph Boahin Edu.
Joseph Boahin Edu. To actually tell him bluntly that he's a liar. You know, just said he's a liar. I mean, that he was vigorously opposed to that arrangement in cabinet, and therefore cannot claim credit for it and so on. I mean, that's a huge, problem. Now, he also presents himself as the money bag. At a time when people are worried about the influence of money in our politics, and people are looking for ideas and so on. So again, that presents as a problem for him and also, for the party. Interestingly, Comrade Japan doesn't seem to be making the waves at all. If I'm mistaken, you can tell me.
Yeah.
You understand? I mean, this morning I've been listening to radio, I've been listening to an analysis of the vetting process and so on. And he doesn't feature much, And he, in the competition for the 2024 Flagbearer sounded to me as one of the most articulate, and honest, persons in that campaign. He, at that time, was able to stand up and say, look, we have done many things which are wrong. We need to change if we want to win elections and so on. Not many candidates were able to do that. So he sounded to me as somebody who was quite honest. And then again, he had a vision of Ghana. It was interesting, right-wing, but interesting. So what do I take from yesterday's vetting? There's a long way to go for everybody. And Collins knows his party better than I do. And he says that, look, there's likely to be a third round. I won't argue with him on that.
I didn't say that.
He says he doesn't foresee a third round.
Oh, you think it will be an outright win?
Yes.
I don't foresee.
That's what he foresees.
I don't foresee a second round.
Interesting.
Yes.
But there are others who see the possibility of a third round. And if we get into a situation where there's a third round, I think that will be saying goodbye to Dr. Bawumia.
You mean a second round?
A second round,
yes.
Thank you. A second round. Thank you very much. I mean, that certainly would be, the turn where Bawumia will receive his goodbye.
Why?
Because if you watch the campaign, it does appear that there's more between the other candidates working together than working with him.
Okay.
It's clear. I don't see how somebody like Kennedy Akompre-Kun, if there's a second round and he's running against Dr. Bawumia, would not get the votes of many of the others against Dr. Bawumia. I don't see how that's possible. You understand? So whatever it is going to be an interesting race. But you see, you cannot do an assessment of the contest within the New Patriotic Party without looking at what is happening in the National Democratic. These apparently are the two strongest political parties. I mean, there's a long way to go, more than 3 years to go. It is possible to get another force emerging, just in the realm of possibility, to get another force emerging. But as of now, these are the two major contending, forces. And one advantage which the National Democratic Congress will have, and which you cannot dispute, is the fact that it is the incumbent party. That's a strong advantage, you understand. Also, so far, its performance in the area of the economy appears impressive. Look at all the indicators, look at the rate of inflation, look at the exchange rate of the cedi, and so on. Look at projects which have been launched, not completed though, but launched. I mean, if the big push, for example, is successfully implemented, it gives them a huge boost and so on. But then in addition to that, we also have to begin to look at the possible candidate who may emerge. Now, the NDC has a problem. It is in power. It has a president whose term ends, in 2028. That president...
In fact, in 2029, January 7th.
Yeah, but there'll be an election in 2028.
An election, yes.
Okay. But the point I'm making is that president necessarily, from all the suggestions, has to be looking at establishing a legacy.
Right.
The people in his administration, the people who work around him, cannot be spending their time now frolicking about their ambitions and so on, because it's a distraction from the objective, the main objective. So that's the problem within the National Democratic Congress. There are some interesting permutations, taking place there. Very interesting permutations. I've seen the survey which was conducted by Musa Dankwa. I think it's too early yet, but he's done some survey which suggests that Mr. Haruna Idrisu, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, is the favorite, but favorite to 26%. That doesn't tell us much. 26% doesn't tell us much.
Yeah.
You understand? And then Johnson Asidu Nketia second with I think around 24%, which also doesn't tell us much and so on. I think that whoever will pick in the National Democratic Congress will pick much, much later. And it is important to go easy, on looking at the National Democratic, Congress and so on. Whatever it is, at the end of the day, what are we looking for? We are looking for a political party which will break with the past. Because the path of neoliberalism that we embarked upon vigorously from 1983 has been disastrous for this country.
We are